Welcome to the Refine and Shine, the podcast dedicated to mastering the art of continuous improvement and optimizing every aspect of your life. I'm Angelina Rivera, your host, and together we'll uncover the secrets to refining our lives, our habits, and our processes to unlock our inner brilliance. Join us on Refine and Shine, where we'll delve deep into achieving more in life without the burnout and without all the stress. This podcast is your platform for a more fulfilling life through continuous improvement and personal growth. In each episode, I and a diverse array of guests discuss practical strategies for up-leveling every aspect of your life. From developing good habits and organizing your space to refining your mindset and personal goals, we're going to explore it all. Our guests share personal stories about the systems they've developed or systems they've used and the tweaks they've made in their lives when refinement was needed, allowing them to truly shine. Listen to Refine and Shine to learn how you can implement continuous improvement techniques in your daily routine, develop and maintain healthy habits that lead to success and satisfaction, organize your life to reduce the stress and increase your productivity, foster a growth mindset that propels you to new heights. My mission is to inspire you to take bold action, make positive changes, and become the best version of yourself. Whether you're aiming to elevate your career, nurture meaningful relationships, or enhance your overall well-being, Refine and Shine is your guiding light. With over 25 years of experience in continuous improvement, I help businesses streamline their processes, establish efficient work areas, and implement standard work protocols. I have trained over 600 individuals and teams in process improvement, optimizing workflows, and enhancing overall operational efficiency. Tune in every week as we embark on an enlightening journey, exploring paths to refinement and illuminating the way to shine in every area of our lives. Subscribe now and join us on this journey to polish your life and let your best self shine through. Thank you for joining us on Refine and Shine. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Refine and Shine podcast. I am so excited for you to get to know my friend, my guest today, Colleen Lindberg. She is a disruptor, a catalyst, and a soul-stirring guide for those ready to remember who they truly are. She leads powerful souls through the fire of transformation, helping them dissolve the patterns of conformity, reclaim their divine power, and rise as the leaders they were born to be. Through her channeling, shadow clearings, and ancestral healing work, Colleen activates deep remembrance in those she mentors, igniting their unique soul blueprints, awakening their ancient gifts, and guiding them to reclaim their birthright of wealth and impact. So thank you, Colleen. I know that there's so much more to say, and I can't wait to get started.
Me too. I'm so excited to be here.
I know your story because we have talked and we have chatted and did all these things together. But I would love for you to. I know that were an entrepreneur. Working in a business for a long time, and now you're an entrepreneur. And just kind of take us through your journey, wherever you want to begin, to where you are now.
Oh my gosh, there's so many steps in between. We'd have to have a whole coffee chat for years. I feel like, I think that's all of us, right, in the story of becoming. But I was an employee for, I don't know, the beginning parts of my world. I started entrepreneurship at the age of 28. So I am 44, about to be 45 this year. So I've been on the journey quite a while in the space of everything. And I was always that kid growing up that would go into, I started working at the age of 12 and would go into companies and start to refine processes and start to, shift their things, and stuff would get better and people would be more productive and we'd have highest sales months and all these things. And I became the manager, and then I'd do all the work and get bored, and then I'd go do it again. And I didn't realize that was a skill set. And that's kind of how my entrepreneurial journey started. Was I just ended up starting a company on kind of a forceful hand, and meaning I just felt this calling inside of me that I needed to do it. I didn't have anyone in my life that was an entrepreneur. I didn't grow up in an entrepreneurial family, but I just knew it was almost like a divine guidance from God that it was time to kind of step in. And for years, at least the first 5 years of the business, I just messed around and I couldn't figure it out. I took on, everyone was like, so can you do websites? I was like, yeah, sure. Then I go to Google, how to create a website, because it was I just needed the cash at the time, and I didn't really realize about refinement and alignment and what that all meant, and about owning your power and all the things that I like teach today. It was just more so like, I need to figure this out and get by, so that's kind of how like the journey really started. I was a very pragmatic business coach at the time, process development, leadership development. I did a lot of culture management, growth strategies in companies, which was all the things that I did technically for the corporations I worked for before. And then I was like, well, I can do this myself, not realizing that takes a little bit more skill set than just execution to make some stuff happen. You have to market, find the people, invoice, all the things that I didn't have to do before. So yeah, that's kind of aspects of the journey you've never heard. I don't think. It's so fun.
I love that. And I think that that's what, there is like at 12 years old starting to work, and then just looking at things and like, why can't we improve this? Why can't we do it this way? And, and really figuring it out. I can relate with you so much on that. I think, I don't remember if we've talked about this before, but when I was little, I was so bossy. When we'd have to go clean our room, I would tell my mom, like, I'd organize our sisters. I was the youngest so we had 6 kids. My mom had 6 kids, but there was the first 3. I was the youngest of the 3. And she would tell us go clean our room. And I would, like, probably 6 years old, divide it up. Like, okay, my sister who loved to read the books, you're not reading the books. You're not going to clean the books. You're going to clean this one because you're just going to be reading books and not cleaning. Or, divide up the work. And then tell my mom, hey, we're done in an hour. And she's like, well, it take me 3 hours. I'm like, well, there's 3 of us. And then I would explain to her, like, we were all working for an hour and, each. So that meant that we had been able to do it in less time. And it's funny because like I'd get in trouble for things like that. And then I got paid to do things like that, right? It's like that God gives us these talents, and some people may think we're bossy or, all the other things that they may say about us. But you know what? These are our talents, and it is to help clean stuff up, right? It's to help clean shit up. And it really works really well because it's our talent, it's our gift. And when you can go in there and help clean up a business or help people save money in a business or do all these things, it's like, well, wait. They're getting I'm doing all this stuff, but why could I make a business out of this? And I love that you said you started it at 28 and you've been doing this for what now, 16 years then?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
As an entrepreneur.
Journey. Yeah. So I, throughout some of the spaces of the first 5 years, I had a part-time job because I needed one, because I just didn't have the cash flow to sustain living. But I just kept going, I never gave in. And as the years went by, like, we had mentioned in my bio, it's like I started making 5-figure months, so $10,000 a month since 2015. And so since then, the last 11 years, I've been doing 10,000 plus figure months since then. And so I found the system that kind of worked. And then when God called me into my actual true pathway back in 2020, which I resisted for a while. I was like, yeah, sure, God, I'll get to that. Yeah, maybe I'll play that game for a bit because I was convinced that, it was over here. But it never, like, I was always good at business consulting. I was always good at the stuff I was doing, but it never fueled me. Like, it never was like, I get up every day, I'm like so passionate about life. Like, it never was like that. It was always like, I'm good at it, so I can go make money over here. And it's not like I got excited about doing someone's health and safety manual. But someone would pay me $3,000 to do their health and safety manual that I had templates for, and it didn't take me long to do. So it was like, okay, well, we'll just create money like that. And then it was finally like, it's time for you to actually own what you're meant to do in the world. And I was like, what do you mean? Like playing all naive. And so for a couple of years, I fought against like divine alignment and finally surrendered in 2022 to the callings and the hits I was getting intuitively and to listening to what God was saying. And I started to act, and I said, okay, fine, God, I'll do it your way, and let's see if it's going to work. And I worked less and made more money. And then I started to make more impact, and people started to have these amazing results, and all this stuff started to transpire. And then it was like I started to find community and people that got and understood who I was. And it was like everything changed. And money today is way easier to make than it's ever been. Like we talked about before we hit record, it's like I'm expanding with it all the time because I'm in my authentic lane and I'm actually doing the things I'm meant to do. And I'm not trying to force something up a hill any longer or try to force an outcome. It's like, I am the outcome, and I give into the world and I receive from the world. And it's just like, yeah, it's a beautiful place to be. That's for sure.
I really love that. And one of the things that I wanted to talk about, is you are now in Costa Rica, right? And
Yes.
that was kind of like a divine power and all the things. And where were you at before? And how did that whole come about to come to Costa Rica? And how did all that play out?
Yeah, so it was 2022. So like I said, like in the journey, fine, I'll keep listening, like, in the space of all that. And I literally woke up in the spring of that year. I can't remember exactly what month, but like I knew I was moving. I could feel the energy kind of coming in. But I thought I was going to like Austin or Florida. Like I knew I was going south into the US. And God's like, it's time. And I was like, time for what? It's time for you to move. I was like, great. Where are we going? Like I lived in Canada. Okay. So I lived in north of Toronto, so I didn't live in the city, but I lived in a smaller town, a snow town, really. Let's just call it that. Like we're in the middle of a snow belt. So right now, my girlfriend who lives there still, she's like, we have 5 feet of snow that's blocking the driveways. Like you can't actually see now pulling out your car out of your driveway. So she bought this like blowtorch that she's now just like melting all the ice. It's actually kind of funny because the city's not doing anything about it. I live there. Okay.
Hmm.
And I just think that's hilarious. And God's like, you're going to Costa Rica. And I was like, all right, well, when am I leaving? Because this is the game I've played before. So I know, like, I'm not worried about any of it. I just am in complete trust, and I just trust all the callings. And God was like in the fall, and I'm like, should I start to sell stuff now? And it was like, yes. And so I started to move in like October 15th of 2022. I was on a plane with 3 duffel bags, moving to a country I'd never been to before. And I knew nobody and hadn't even tapped in here earlier that year. Like I just got on a plane and moved. And 3.5 years later, here we are. Yeah.
I just love that. I just love that. And I just wanted to know is how do you, because I know that like a lot of people don't want to surrender. They don't know how what it feels like. They want to have control and they
Mm-hmm.
don't know how to let go and just let God come in and have that trust. So how did you, has that always been something that you have been able to do, or is it did something that took work?
Yeah, I think it was the hardest part of the pathway. I think that it really, like, I remember in December of 2020, where I had exhausted every single thing I knew what to do, and I couldn't figure out a solution to the problem I was having. And I finally was just, it was almost like on my knees kind of challenge. And I said to God, I was like, I don't know what to do. Like, I can't figure this one out. I've tried everything I know what to do. And God's like, oh, you're finally there. No, listen, and you're finally ready. And I was like, what do you mean? Me and God, like I have this duality. Like I actually yell at my guides sometimes where I'm just like, what the fuck? Like, and sorry, hopefully we could swear on this podcast, but like I actually say that sometimes. Like you have to put like an E on this episode. I say that sometimes because I'm like, are you for real? And then I will always act behind it now because I just know. But it took a lot. It takes a lot of like grit into that. Most of us have been conditioned in this lifetime to get all the answers first and then act. So they teach us in school, do your research, then create. And it's a conditioning where spirituality, God, divine alignment is just trust first, act, and then you'll get all the answers later. And so it's a complete deconditioning in the space of, because if you think about it, you're like, I don't know why I have to do this, but I'm going to do this. Later on, you get the answer to why you had to do this, right? And it's like, shoot, now I know why. That's why it happened. And that's like, I do things all the time now, and I just launch stuff and I get why. And then all of a sudden it'll be like, wow, you're doing that circle on the full moon, and the whole circle, the whole full moon energy now is on courage, and you're doing a courageous circle. Like that happened before. And I'm like, what are the odds?
Mhm.
Aligned to the odds, like 100% aligned. So,
I think that's
yeah.
amazing. And we were talking prior to we started recording is that, sometimes we get these like drop downs or downloads or things and like we'll write it down. The next thing we need to do is take action. I had a download about something and I wrote it on my whiteboard and I was like, I wrote that last year and I didn't do anything. And then this week, I had another drop in as like, listen to this call and and it was about the thing that I had wrote a year ago. And so one of the things we need to do is also take the action. And you
Oh,
are a
yeah.
woman of action, right? You like get these downloads and you're just like, okay, let's do it.
Every time, every time. Now I know better, like, because as I move through this process, and I started to really trust the landscape every single time I understand why. Like I always give this example just to bring it back into context. Because one day I went to go take out the garbage. Now, remember, I live in Canada and it's cold out and it's the middle of winter and the garbage is just down the driveway. And something said to me, you should take your keys. I was like, take my keys? I'm going down the driveway to take out the garbage. So this is me arguing with spirit, right? All the time. And I'm like, whatever. I go to take the garbage. Obviously, I'm not in a jacket. I'm in my boots with a hoodie, whatever I'm wearing. I go and drop off the garbage, come back, and my door is locked. Okay, and now this door just can't lock. It's like one of those turn lock doors. So something happened to the door. And I was like, okay, we're at night in the middle of winter in Canada. I'm in a hoodie. Luckily, the day before I got this hit, you should unlock that window. Luckily, I listened because I have no other doors open. I'd have to break glass or something or to call locksmith to come and unlock the door and be sitting outside because I don't know my neighbors, which is even better, in the space of it all. And luckily, I unlocked that window, so I was able to get a chair. Now, these windows are 8 feet up, so I had to literally do this like tricep push up into the window, and then it's right up against my bed. And so the dog and the cats are all there, and I'm like, move! I'm like trying to like lift myself onto this window, and at the time I was kind of weak, so like let's just put that into context. But I remember this story so much because it's like if you would just trust, you wouldn't get yourself into these struggle and challenging situations all the time. If you just would have brought your keys and listened to me, then you wouldn't have had this problem. You could have unlocked the door. And so it's like, it's almost like, and if you take that into your own life to be like, where are you not listening? Where are you not trusting you'll be supported? Where are you not leaving the relationship? Or where are you not investing in yourself? Or where are you not saying yes to things because of whatever conditioning we have? You're scared. You don't know how it's going to work out. You don't feel worthy, like all this stuff. And it's like God and divine and the universe and alignment always are working with us. It's just us that's working against it a lot of the times.
Is your business constantly busy, but still inefficient? If your team is working hard but things keep falling through the cracks, it's not a people problem, it's a process problem. This is where Refined Consulting comes in. I help businesses simplify operations and build systems that actually work. Here's how I do it, in just a few days. First, we get clarity. We identify where your time, energy, and money are being wasted. Then, we map your process, step by step, so you can actually see what's happening. Next, we simplify. We cut out delays, redundancies, and anything that's slowing you down. Then we build a system your team can follow, so everything doesn't depend on you. And finally, we implement, so you walk away with a clear plan and real results. No more guessing, no more chaos, just better systems. If you're ready to streamline your business and get your time back, go to refineconsultingllc.com and book your free discovery call. Let's refine your processes and help you shine.
So
I love that. I love that. One of the things you talked about, you just talked about was investment and investing in yourself. Now you are a woman who consistently makes, five plus, 5-figure per month entrepreneur. And, some months you'll have a $50,000 month, but a lot of people think, well, that's great, but you talked about investment, and I would love to know how much have you spent? You don't have to give me a dollar amount, but when people are scared when you invest, have you made 10 times what you've invested because you've invested in actually taking action?
Oh, huge. Every single time I put money out wherever, whether it's in mentorship or it's in, so like just this weekend, I got back from New York. I went to a mastermind for a day, and it takes me like 15 hours on Friday to travel to New York. Like it's not little. I have to pay a dog sitter, all the flights, hotel, the mastermind itself. It was well over $5,000 to go to New York. And I could have put that money somewhere else. I could have made a decision to do it in this space and stuff. But I know that when I invest in myself, whatever that is, in programs, master classes, time, in the space of that, it will yield me because something is calling me to that for my next key, which is going to help me move into the next space. And the mentor I went to the mastermind with is a multi-millionaire mentor, and she specializes in helping women get to 7-figure years. That's where I want to be in 2026. So guess what I do? You get into the room with other women doing the same thing, and something transitions in the room. It's like you're not playing the normal games or having the same friends that have the same amount of income. It's like we invest to get into the rooms with people doing the things we want to be doing. And then it's like a byproduct. It gets on you. So yeah.
I think that's so important, and I truly believe in investing, and I would say that the first time I flew on an airplane that wasn't for a work job, like my 9 to 5 job, was in 2021. That was the first time, and what I did was I invested, and I had never flown just for besides going to work for work trips by myself. I flew, and it was during the pandemic. We still had to wear masks. I paid first class for myself. I was like, I'm
Yeah.
going to do this. And I went to Florida, and I live in California, and I went to Florida, and I went to a conference, and that conference changed so much. It got me into conversations, people that I got to start networking. I learned how to, just meeting people, and these people, like, some of them have been on my podcast. Like, I've never would have met these people had I not just put myself in the room. And I think
Yeah.
that that's what people are so scared to do. They're like, well, maybe it's not for me. Maybe if you meet 3 people, maybe the whole speakers are not the right, maybe you don't connect with every single speaker, but somebody's going to say something that resonates with you. And you are going to meet so many people, and those people meet people, and those people, I mean, it's just, you can't just live your life looking at social media and thinking, well, it must be nice to be this person, or it must be nice, or I'm just going to have these friends on social media. You got to get out there and put yourself out there. What would you say to that?
Yeah, so I want to say like the right rooms. So like we could go invest in things just to invest in things, but if you are called into a space, like meaning that feels for you, and even if it's an upgrade, there's been moments of time where I didn't have the money to invest in myself. I was doing all different kinds of stuff, but I knew I needed that session or I knew I needed that work. I took the money from somewhere that it probably should have been instead of going into that and said yes because I knew the result would come through. And so if you are called and it feels in your like you just know you're supposed to be there, then like it may not be the info like you just said. It might be the person sitting next to you or the someone that you're going to meet on the plane or like we don't know why. Our job at the beginning isn't to know why, it's to just keep trusting that we're being guided. And if you are clear about your results that you want, or you are clear, like you want to get married and have kids and you want to meet the man of your dreams, and it's like sometimes that man might be in the airport and you couldn't have met him if you didn't get on the plane to take you to the event. And that was the only reason why you were going to the event was to meet the dude in the airport. It's like we don't know how all the pieces are orchestrated. We don't need to know. Our job is to keep following the beacon that keeps directing us into the spaces of where we're headed and what we want. And that's our job, really.
I love that. I want to just smile. It made me think of the time my husband was late to class in high
Mm-hmm.
school. And because when they back then it was high school, and when you're late to class, you had to go stand by the tree, like these trees, like that was like punishment. And that was the first time we actually got to interact because I had PE in that first period, and we were playing tennis or basketball or something like that, and that was the first time we got to see each other. And I was like, "Ooh, who's that?" I would have not seen him had he not been late to
Yeah.
class, and here we are, 30 plus years later.
All of this, and that's the thing that we don't really understand is that we think we're running our own game and we're not. We're part of an orchestration that we've chosen to be a part of on this earth plane. You have a reason why you're here. And that reason is the guiding light. And if we just keep stepping up behind that, we will all be taken care of in the ways we want to, whether that's having a dog sanctuary or, leading this mission on the earth or writing the book and speaking in front of 10,000 people or meeting the millionaire husband that you want to marry. All of us have a pathway that we're being called into. And if you're listening to this, you, my friend, have one as well. So,
I love that. I love that. Now, I would love for you to explain, share with people what are the types of things that you do? I mean, you're an entrepreneur. How can they work with you? What do you have to offer? I would love for you to share that.
yeah, so I've transitioned the business a lot over the years. Can I be a business coach and consultant? Sure. If you feel inclined to that, amazing. I can. I'd never promote that work specifically as it is because my really juicy energy falls into the energetic sides of the business, stuff that most people aren't talking about, that we've got energetic stuff we need to clear out of our fields. We've taken on patterns from our parents, and ancestral lineage line says that you're in scarcity, so you keep cycling with money. And it's like, I do the clearing work. And once we're cleared, my job is to do activation work, to activate you in the potency of what you're meant to hold on earth, and for you to be able to feel it and know it and understand that that's your power, and to hold it within your truth to be able to say it into the world. And that's where time collapses and crazy money comes in, and your impact is amplified, and your ability to step up behind and your gifts amplifies, and you transition that light into the world. And can I channel direct strategies for you? Absolutely. Can I create a blueprint for your marketing that's in your own alignment? Absolutely. But I love to play in the energetics. Like, I do all the shadow work clearing stuff that most people don't talk about. Like, I do the crazy dark things, and most of us have it. We just don't know it's there. And we try to figure out why. And it's like, most people are like, I just can't seem to get it. I'm doing all the things. And it's like, yeah, it's energy blocking you. So that's my MO. It's like, and that's where I get really lit up, to be like, when people after a session are like, oh my God, like I could see differently, or I felt that clearing that you did in my solar plexus, or like all this stuff happened. And it's like, that's kind of where I play. So yeah.
So I recently found out about clearing and shadow clearing and all the things, and getting that energetic out of the way, the energy. Can you kind of explain that to people? Because I got to experience it, but it was, some people like, I'm 45 and I had never even heard of it. It was an amazing thing. And we just talked before we aired. And once I had that happen, so many other doors have been opening up. So for me personally, it was generation blockage, and it was on scarcity mindset and lineage, or lineage. Hopefully I said that word right. Ancestral lineage showed lineage. Yeah. Showed poverty and famine like 75 years ago for my family. So can you explain what you do with that?
Yeah. So like, we know like something is off. That's the feeling we have. We don't know what. We can't seem to get by. We've been hitting the same ceiling of income for a long time. We know we're better than this, but we just can't seem to like maneuver. Or like, every day you wake up and you're tired and you're taking the things and the doctor says nothing's wrong, and all this stuff is like, these are signs from a human world perspective that something is off energetically. And so when I do this work, I tap into people's fields. So we do a call just like this that we're recording now, and we talk out what's happening in your life. And I just go and tap in, and I start to move energy through, and I'll drop you into a space. And it's very esoteric. So it's not like there's a pattern or like a manual I follow. So everybody has their own stuff, and I go in and I feel out where you're being blocked, and I clear the energy through. I tap into where it's rooted, and sometimes it's really depthful, and I'll go back 75 years into a lineage line to find out where it started. If you believe in past lives, there's all that energy playing out too, where you used to be this person and you made a vow in that life to never again, and that vow is still playing out in your energetic field and now needs to be closed, or karmic debt. Like, all of this is actually things that we don't realize are happening in the background. And once we clear it up, we pull the roots, we close the doors, we cut the cords. Those are all words that you will hear me use. Then everything opens. And I do clearing work for people on properties, for investments. I have like multimillionaires that hire me to just check out their investment portfolio, where they're moving their money into. What do I see for seeing something happening? Is it a good space to actually build that thing that they want to do? Or are the ancestors mad and they'll block all the whole thing and create chaos for that establishment coming to play? It's like, all of this is actually relative, and it's actually happening in the background, and most people don't know that it is. And my specialty is bringing it up and clearing it out and having you back into your light for clarity, for your mission, so you can hold it. Like, now, after that clearing, it's like you can now actually go and make the impact in the world you're meant to make. And most of the shadow is purposely blocking you from doing that, because the more people lit up, the more people are making impact in the world. And technically the duality of the world doesn't want that to happen. So, yeah.
I love that. That was such a great explanation. I thank you so much for that, because that actually helped me a little bit more understanding. Because when it happened I didn't understand all the things, and I was like, wow. And I'm still like, it's amazing. And so one of the things that I would love for you to share is, like, you do this type of work, and how do you do it? Like, how can you connect with people? Is it just in person? You do it virtually? How do you do all your work?
99.9% of my work is done online. So if you want to come to Costa Rica and you want to do like a VIP day, 2-day retreat with me, sure, we can make that happen. But most people aren't, and that's okay with me. So it's like I'm powerful in online. I actually think I'm actually more powerful here because I don't have you in my space kind of distracting me, like, but if you want to come here, amazing stuff. But everything's done online. I teach all my courses and programs. I always have stuff going on in different landscapes of smaller trainings, of like larger programs. Like I do a lot of stuff.
I love that. I love that. And as we wrap up, I mean, we could go on and like have, like you said, a whole series of podcasts about all the great things that you help people with. But I did want to say, I know that when we talked, I think it was last week or the week before, you like not only do you help people like with the energy clearing, but you help people with scaling their business. Is that something you're still doing? Like if it's a restaurant or any of those types of things, do you still do work like that?
Yeah, so it would be more one-to-one work. So it's not something I like actively promote, but if someone feels called to ask me questions, to come into my field that way, like drop me a line, we can talk it through and just see. But yeah, in the past I've done franchisings of companies. I've helped them create intense marketing strategies, duplicate their business models, help them hire. Like I've played that realm, and it's really easy for me now to do because I just tap into the authentic energy of the business, and I can go bing, 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 and and then we get it. So it also too, a lot of the space. So if you're coming to me for that, we always start with energy work because I guarantee you something's blocking you, and that's why you're actually in my field. And then we create and strategize the actual movement forward, and then we maneuver it. But it's a lot of like one-to-one work I would do in that space with people. Yeah.
Which I think is so important. And that's one of the things I wanted to highlight is that people may be listening to this and they might be thinking, well, that's just some woo woo stuff. I don't need that. I'm making good money. But you could be making good money, whatever great money is to you. But do you really know that you could make more? Or what? It's not even about the money. It could be just even weight loss or whatever the things that are holding you back. And you're thinking, just think about it and connect with Colleen because there's a whole world of things that she can tap into, but it always starts again with your energy. If you're tired and you're dragging and you feel like not confident to just get up and do the things you need to do, you may need some energy work done, would you say?
Yeah, well, and also too, if you think about this, it's like most of us have been taught to work hard. And yes, we do need to put in effort. But if you're pushing the boulder up a hill that actually is the wrong hill that you're on, and that's not where you're supposed to be, then it's way harder than it needs to be. So I'm not diminishing hard work, but when you actually have energy that's cleared and you're in alignment, the 12-hour days might turn to 4-hour days now. And we can transition some of the business model to make more sense for your outcomes and what you actually desire to be lifestyle for you, So it's like, there's that shift that can happen in real time, but we've got to be open in the space of this and actually, and you will know, like you're listening to this, you're like, I need to talk to her. You're going to know. And that's God telling you, go and talk to her because your assets are needed in the space right now. And you're potentially not reaching your people and your potency because of whatever is happening in your field. So it's time for you to kind of step up into that and turn it on. So yeah.
I love that. I think that's so important. And I would just love for people, if you're listening, think about your phone. When your phone is like 20%, you panic because you like that's your lifeline. You panic. Think about your own body. When you're 20%, your energy is down and you're constantly feeling those 20%, 80% drain, you only are running on 20% energy. You got to see that could be a block and you need to really look into that. So,
yeah, it's true. I love it.
But as we wrap up, how can people connect? I mean, I'll share your social media. Is there any particular social media channel that you profile or that you use more than the others, or all of them equally?
Yeah, no, I always say that Instagram's my playground. So come and play on there. You can also send me like a DM. You heard this podcast episode and you're like, Colleen, that really hit. I love communicating with people. So like, especially listeners of certain things, like what landed for you, like come send me a message, like I just like, let's connect over there. That's kind of where my MO is, we'll say.
Yes, I love that. And I'll definitely make sure that I have all your links to connect with you in the show notes. But as I always ask my guests as we wrap up, what is a word, a phrase, a book, some type of action that they can take today in order to help them refine and shine?
Yeah, I think I want to let's lean into like the I am statement. When you actually lead your life with I am courageous, I am wealthy, I am the light, then you're imprinting that energy into the field. And every single time you do it, you're creating a ripple effect in the world. So I'm going to highly encourage you to use I am. What are you? I am this, and then start to really embed that in your field to make change. So,
I love that. I love that. I actually have my I am book right here, and
yeah,
every morning I journal what I am, and then every night what I am.
that's so funny because I would have never said that in normal circumstances, but that's what I was told to say. So I just trusted. And I love that you do that. Do you teach that? That's hilarious. If you do, it's just like that one was yours.
Yeah.
So funny.
Well, before, I mean, I know we're wrapping up, but it's just think about it in this way, people. If you go in and you look at yourself in the mirror and like give yourself negative energy, like I am fat or I am
Yeah,
whatever it is,
yeah,
your body is ready and start off in a bad way. You got to go in the mirror and say like I am beautiful. I am, whatever it is, and I am debt free. I am a property owner. I am a 1% podcaster, all of these things. It's gonna like just the difference in saying that, the facial expressions is just a whole game changer. And
yeah.
so, and then writing them out, thinking them, saying them out loud, and then writing them out, it's just elevates the experience.
Love it. I love it. So good.
All right. Well, thank you so much for being an amazing guest.
Thank you for having me.
My pleasure. Thank you for joining us on this episode of Refine and Shine. We hope you find valuable insights and inspiration to fuel your journey of continuous improvement. Remember, the key to success lies in refining your processes and letting your inner brilliance shine. If you've enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe to the podcast and leave a review. Your feedback is greatly appreciated and helps us reach more listeners like you who are eager to refine and shine in all areas of life. Stay connected with us on social media for updates and additional resources and behind-the-scenes content. We love hearing from our listeners, so feel free to reach out with any suggestions, questions, or success stories you'd like to share. As we wrap up, remember that the power to transform your life lies within you. Keep striving for growth, embracing change, and seeking opportunities to refine your skills. Together, let's continue to shine bright and make a positive impact in the world. Until next time, keep refining and keep shining.